You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
Good evening, folks. This is a sad day for me. This represents Toys for Tots, folks. For 24 years, I ran probably the biggest Toys for Tots event, as they told me, for years, and anywhere in New England at the very least. And I had to give it up. This year, I didn't do it. First time since, 25 years ago. It would have been 25 years this year had I done it. But I couldn't do it this year, and I'm sad about it. But Toys for Tots is still in existence. So if you ever see a toy box anywhere or you want to start a toy collection, do it. Contact the Marines. They're right off of Allen's Avenue in Providence. Go on the website, toysfortots.com, and get a phone number for them and call them if you want to start a toy collection, toy drive with your school, with your church, with your group, with your business, whatever. But collect toys. Toys for Tots, very, very, it's probably the best charitable organization you can have. You know why? Because 100% of the proceeds from Toys for Tots, you give a toy for Toys for Tots, it goes to a kid. Nobody's taking a percentage of it. It's not like any other charity. There's only like 3 charities in the country that has, I guess they have, like if somebody gave cash, I think there's like a 3% that goes to administration. But any toy you give Toys for Tots goes to a kid. So having said that, let's get on with the show. And tonight we're going to start off with a beautiful young lady. I happen to know her, both her father and her uncle, and her aunt too, and her grandmother. And I found out that they had such a beautiful, I didn't realize they had such a beautiful niece, daughter, whatever, Mark's daughter, Mikala. But Mikala Fortune, huh?
Yes.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I was pleasantly surprised at how beautiful you are.
Thank you, thank you.
Now, you are what? What do you do for a living?
So I work as a claims advocate at Chisholm & Kilpatrick, and we are a law firm in downtown Providence, and we do veterans law. So
veterans law.
Yes. So if a veteran is disabled because of their military service, whether it's mentally or physically, and they want to get disability pay, we help them either file, or if they get denied, we help them with their appeal.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you have quite the resume. You're not a lawyer, but you went to, where'd you go to school?
So for undergrad, I went to Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C.
Right.
Then after that, I graduated, and I went to paralegal school at Boston University.
Wow.
And then from there, I started working at my job. I've been there for a little over 3 years, and I became what's called a non-attorney practitioner. So I'm not an attorney, like you said.
Right.
I took a test.
Well, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
If you're not an attorney, you know?
I took a test. Basically, I studied for this test, and I'm a licensed claims advocate, so I'm able to represent veterans before the Department of Veterans Affairs.
Right.
But I'm not.
Oh,
an
you
attorney.
can't? Really?
Yeah, technically. So I work on a team at my law firm right now, and we're like a team of paralegals under either another licensed practitioner or under an attorney, and we do everything as a team. So.
And how many veterans do you end up dealing with in the course of a week?
In the course of a week, hundreds.
Really?
But over the 3 years that I've been there, it's been thousands. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of veterans in Rhode Island, that's for sure, right?
Well, the most of my cases aren't in Rhode Island. The
They're not.
majority of my clients, I would say 95% of my clients are not in Rhode Island. We do veterans all over the country. Everything we can do basically over the phone, over the internet, via snail mail, whatever's easiest. I've had veterans that I've helped with claims that live overseas, that moved. Everybody's a U.S. veteran, but some of them move after service, things like that. So yeah, I have veterans all over the country. Most of them aren't around here.
And you have a lot of veterans in your family too.
Yes, so
Dad was in the what?
My dad was in the Army.
Dad was in the Army. I know Uncle Keith was in the Navy. He was a corpsman, right? I think he was a corpsman, Navy corpsman, right? Mm-hmm. And who else?
So my dad, basically his whole family was kind of a military family. So him and his brother are both vets. His dad, my grandfather, is also an Army vet. My dad's uncle, so my grandfather's brother, is also an Army vet.
Wow.
So yeah, and then on my mom's side, I have a couple of my mom's cousins are vets. My mom has a cousin right now on active duty. My best friend, her brother, did 4 tours overseas.
Oh my God.
So I have a lot of military friends.
And how come they didn't catch you?
I don't know. I don't think I would survive. I'm only 5'3", so.
Yeah? Well, what's that got to do with
I don't know if I could keep up with the running. I'm not a good runner.
No?
No. So I give major props to all these guys and women that we help because I don't think I could ever do that.
Well, we just did. I work for the Lieutenant Governor's office, and we just completed the Operation Holiday Cheer, where we collect products that are related to Rhode Island, most of it, the stuff like Dell's Lemonade and Autocrat Coffee and the Pawtucket Red Sox, which unfortunately is not going to be with us much longer. But we get stuff from those groups or those companies, and we put them in a box, and we send them out to veterans that are going to, or should I say servicemen and women, that are going to be deployed during Christmas time or during the holidays.
That's really nice,
So they have something that they can open up a box, and they got some Autocrat coffee. They got a quart of Autocrat coffee, or they got a bunch of packets of Dell's Lemonade. Obviously, we don't send them frozen lemonade, but you know, and something from the Paw Sox and something from the Boston Red Sox. And you know who helps us out a lot too is the Patriots. In fact, I went up and picked up the 8x10 glossies of the kicker, a couple of the running backs, a wide receiver, and they're all given boxes of them. And then I get down to the Warwick. The facility is the Armory is on Airport Road, and I park the car, and I go to the trunk. I open the trunk, and the box full of pitches come flying out. The whole one. Must have been 200 pitches on the driveway. They all come out because the boxes shifted. My entire trunk was full of boxes of all the. They had hats. They had all kinds of stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was very cool.
That's
very
awesome,
cool.
yeah.
And we've been doing it for several years now.
The Patriots are my favorite, personally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, what's cool is I'll show you later. I got pictures of. They have murals in the administrative offices. They have murals on the wall there. And you can stand next to him and take a picture. In fact, my next guest, the sheriff, I think he's probably been there. He's been everywhere. Anything to do with Massachusetts especially. Is that true, Sheriff? Have you been to the Patriot, the administrative offices at Patriots?
I have.
You have? I figured you had. You've been everywhere. He just came back from the White House.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to him. He'll have his time in a minute. So how did you get involved in why well, I guess the answer to the question is because your family's so involved in the military stuff and veteran stuff, right?
Yeah.
I was going to ask you how you got involved in veteran stuff.
I basically once I graduated with a degree in international politics. So it was.
Really?
Yeah. So it was kind of government related. My whole degree was learning how the government works. And then I saw that this job opportunity came up. I saw it online, and I applied and interviewed, and it just seemed like a good fit, and I've been there ever since I graduated college. I've been there.
And is it as rewarding as I would think it would be?
Yeah, definitely. It feels good to have a job where I can see and hear every single day on the phone truly that what we're doing is helping someone's life.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
if they apply for their military disability like it's percentages, right?
Right,
Based on
yeah.
percentages. Because I knew a friend of mine. He did the Vietnam when we went to. We were in high school, and after high school, I ended up going to Roger Williams College because they rejected me. I went down. A whole bunch of us went down to sign up and try out for the military. We're all going to go in the Marines, but I got rejected.
When I first started at my firm, I did mostly Vietnam veteran. Like most of my cases were Agent Orange cases.
That's where my brother died from, Agent Orange.
Really? Yeah, in Thailand, all that. That was the majority. Now I kind of do everything, but when I first started, they had me kind of on a special team that was focused on Vietnam veterans.
Wow.
So that was my specialty at first.
And how funny is that? I just was looking at booking a trip to Thailand.
Oh, really?
Today. I mean, 3 hours ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, back then, I don't know how great it was.
No,
but now
I
hear
wouldn't
it's
want to be
nice.
over there.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say that because I did want to go over there. And my brother ended up going over there. He ended up in Vietnam during a couple of the nastiest, the Tet Offensive.
Right, yeah.
Which was one of the worst.
Yeah. They gave those guys a little bit of a harder time, I think, with the benefits than they do nowadays.
Yeah. Well, not only that, the American public gave them a hard time.
Yeah,
They were terrible to the veterans. Terrible.
Yeah, a lot.
They were spitting at them when they come home. It was awful.
Yeah, people, I talked to a lot of guys like with PTSD from Vietnam, and then they came, whereas now, veterans get PTSD in Iraq or Afghanistan, which is terrible, obviously, but they come home and they're regarded as heroes, where back then, they had all these terrible things happen to them overseas, and then they come home, and then everybody hates them at home, too. So they had an even harder of a time, I think.
And that, I think, was even harder back then, not only for that, but because it was jungle warfare versus a desert warfare.
Right, and
I
now
mean,
we have technology.
you can see your enemy in the desert.
Yeah.
In the jungle, they were hiding behind these leaves that they have. Those palm leaves, you could stand behind one, they wouldn't even see you.
Yeah, and it rained all the time, so I've heard the monsoons, so it did not
that
sound
rainy
fun.
season, yeah.
Yep, so I talk to those guys all the time. Mostly that era are the clients that I deal with. So.
Oh. Well, we're going to shift gears in a minute because I want to ask you about something else you've done in your short, young life, I should say. But I want to say hi to the band. We got a band here,
Yes.
What's the name of this band? What is it? What's the name of this band?
Timeless?
Timeless?
We're the band Timeless.
You're
yes.
Timeless.
Yes, we are Timeless.
1, 2, 3 Timeless band members.
Yes.
And who's that guy over there?
Oh, that's my father and also kind of our manager. He he helps us out with everything. He gets us gigs and
You get your gigs?
He's moral support.
Now, I saw you, young men, a month ago, right? Didn't I see you 2 months ago?
Did you see us out playing?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
Federal Hill?
Was it on?
Yes. It was on Federal Hill. That's
been
where I met.
Columbus
I
Day.
didn't meet you, but I mean that's where I saw you
That's where
perform, and that's why I said I want to get this band on my show.
Yes.
And then coupled by the fact that your other friend is a friend of mine, had been on the show years ago.
Mutual friend.
A mutual friend. He called me text me from Vegas. He's in Vegas right now, right?
Ray.
Shout out to him.
Huh? Shout out to him,
Ray
huh?
DeSanto.
Yeah, and he was toting you guys from the start, right?
Yeah. He loves us. We
Now,
love
what
him.
do you call him? What do you call him?
Well, we call him Ray, but we'll call him Estefano sometimes.
Yeah, I know it. It's different names. His name is
Yeah, we
Ray.
got a couple names that we bust his chops a lot.
Well, he's actually performing in Vegas right now.
Yeah, yes.
So what kind of stuff do you guys do?
Well, we basically do 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s covers.
And collectively, you're not that old. I mean, if you add yours all up together, you wouldn't make the 70s.
Probably not. If you added our ages, we'd probably only be in the 30s.
I hope not.
50s, yeah.
50s?
Well, I'm 18, he's 18, and he's 17.
Wow. 55.
Yeah. But we have fun, you know.
Well, listen, why don't you guys give us a song, and
All right.
after you give us a song, I'm going to talk to my beautiful guest about something else that she was involved in.
All right.
Timeless.
This first song that we're going to do is called Folsom Prison Blues by Johnny Cash.
Wow.
the sunshine since I don't know when. Lord, I'm stuck in Folsom Prison. Time keeps dragging on, but that train keeps rolling on down to San Antonio. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy, don't ever play with guns. Well, I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. When I hear that whistle blowing, I hang my head and cry. Well, I bet there's rich folks in a fancy dining car. They're probably drinking coffee and smoking big cigars. Well, I know I had it coming. I know I can't be free. But then people keep moving, and that's what tortures me. Well, if they free me from this prison, if that railroad train was mine, bet I'd move it on a little farther down the line, far from Folsom Prison. That's where I want to stay. And I'd let that lonesome whistle roll my blues away. Thank you. That was Folsom Prison Blues by Johnny Cash.
Wow, pretty good, huh? That's amazing. That song's older than all of you.
I know.
And Mikala, now, what I wanted to switch to is you were also, besides being involved in veterans benefits and being an advocate for veterans, and it's great to be able to do that. And
Yeah.
it must feel really good to be doing that. But you're also in the Miss Rhode Island USA.
Yes.
I always have to hesitate when I say that because I've so many times I've had Miss Pageant winners on this show over the years. I've been doing the show for 26 years, and over the years I've probably had every pageant winner that's been on Miss Rhode Island USA, Miss Rhode Island America, and a few other pageants too. So I hesitate. Sorry that I hesitated there because I have to, because I always will say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I'll say, oh, Miss Rhode Island America. No, it's USA, or it's this one or it's that one. So how'd that go? How'd you get involved in that anyway?
So I just kind of, my aunt I know we talked about my dad on my mom's side.
Right.
My aunt did pageants when I was younger, and she kind of inspired me to do it. Kind of getting older in the pageant world. I turned 25 last week.
Oh my gosh, she's an old lady.
So I'm an old lady.
She's 25, Sheriff. She's 25.
So
That's a quarter of a century.
I know.
Wow, that's scary, huh?
Yeah. So
No.
I'm halfway to 30 now. I feel like every minute that goes by, I'm closer to 30 than I was 20, and that scares me.
You're 5/6 of 30, not halfway to 30.
Yeah. So I'm 25 now, so I'm getting up there in the pageant world, and so I thought you have to stop at 27, or at least for Miss Rhode Island USA.
Right. So then you get married and you go to Mrs. Rhode Island.
Right. So I was 24 when I competed in September. And so I thought, well, if I want to do this, and kind of my aunt was encouraging me that I should do it as well. So I thought, if I want to do this, it's now or never. So I competed. I didn't win. So it's not a Rhode Island USA winner. Nicole Pelosi won this year, and she was so nice and so sweet and so deserving. I think this was like her 4th or 5th time trying to be Miss Rhode Island.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but it was such an awesome experience, and I kind of used, one of the reasons I wanted to do it was to use my platform to talk about veterans.
Veterans.
Yeah. So
oh my gosh.
I talked about it in my interview on stage. They kind of present you with like a fun fact. So my fun fact was that I'm a claims advocate for veterans benefits. So it was really fun. It was so much fun. All the girls were so nice. It was less nerve-wracking than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I was pretty nervous, but they just made everybody so comfortable. We rehearsed so much, and it was so much fun. It felt really empowering. I was with my friends and family, watching. It felt really good. So
Where was that held?
it was at the Vets. No pun
Veteran-
intended. It
Wow,
was at,
Veterans Memorial
Veterans
Auditorium?
Memorial Auditorium. Yep.
Nice place.
Yeah, it was really nice. I had only been for shows, obviously. I never been on stage there, so I was a little nervous, but it was awesome. So I'm so glad I did it.
Oh, the sheriff will get a kick out of this one. I got my picture taken at that Veterans Memorial Auditorium there a few months ago, with Leon Panetta. He says, hey, can I get a picture with you, Bob? He wanted a picture with me.
That's awesome.
Well, he's an Italian. He's a fellow Italian.
Yeah.
And you live on the hill,
I live in Federal Hill, yes.
but you're not Italian.
I'm not Italian. Well, according to Ancestry DNA.
You're part. Oh, you did that?
I got my mom for Christmas, and it said she was Italian, even though we didn't know that. It was only a
Oh,
little bit.
you're French, right? Your family?
Yeah, my dad is French, and my mom is actually from Puerto Rico. So,
Right.
yeah. So,
Wow.
I'm a little bit Italian, but I didn't know that, and now I moved to the Hill. So, I'm from Cumberland.
Wait a minute. Is that why you moved to the hill?
No,
Because you
I
found
love
out from-
Italian food, so that's why I moved to the Hill. Yeah.
Really?
Yep. So it's
that's
great. I
pretty
love
cool.
living over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad you were able to stop by and say hi.
Yeah.
But-
Thank you for having me.
Yes. And I'm glad. Keep up the good work.
I will.
The
I'll try
helping
my
the
best.
veterans. You can't
Thank
go
you.
wrong there.
Thank you.
They deserve it.
Yeah. It's a really rewarding job. So,
All right.
yeah.
Oh, guys, can you give us a song to take us out so I can change off
The
here?
next song we'll do is more of a slower one. This is a Beatles song.
A
You can-
Beatles song?
Yes. You can catch us up the hill doing these songs.
Yeah, we play in the hill.
We played at the hill at Di Pasquale Square every Tuesday night back in the summer.
Really?
So I don't know if you ever heard us or not, but that's one of our hangouts.
Wow.
We're gonna be there this Sunday.
Oh yeah, we'll be there this Sunday for their
Yep.
Christmas show, right? And we're gonna be at the convention center earlier that day for like a race.
Was Dad getting you all
festival that
these
they're
gigs?
having.
Dad getting you all these great gigs?
Oh well, he got us some of them, and I got some, and he got some, and he
We didn't go
almost
through
got
the
some.
names, by the way. We didn't introduce everybody here.
Well, my name is Cross Pistacco, and I'm 18 years old. You want to take that?
My name is Jameer Pina. I'm also 18 years old.
Where you from?
Providence.
And you?
I'm also from Providence.
And drummer boy.
I'm Nick Williams. I'm 17. I'm from Cranston.
Cranston. Cranston and Providence.
Yeah. So anywhere around there, you might find us or hear us playing out.
And how long you been together?
We first started the band back at the end of summer of 2016. So about 2 years we've been doing
Wow.
this.
You were 15, 16 years old.
Yes. You were 15, right? Right. I didn't know if you.
Oh,
might
he's
be
the
15.
youngin', right? He's the youngin'?
He's the young blood.
He's the young blood, yeah. Young blood. Huh? Don't you really feel old now?
Now I feel super old. Yeah.
All right, Timeless, give us a song.
All right.
All right, this next song, we're going to slow it down a little bit. This is a Beatles song. This is called This Boy.
That boy took my love away, though he'll regret it someday. But this boy wants you back again.
nice job. Timeless. Providence and Cranston is represented. Yes. And Bristol County, Massachusetts is also represented here tonight with my good friend, been a guest on the show a lot of times, huh? Sheriff Hodgeson. How you doing?
Good to see you, Bob. How you
Thomas.
doing? Great to be here.
Didn't I just, first of all, you get around. You were just,
Well, I'd be careful how you put that.
I know, huh?
Yeah.
You get around. You've been on TV a few times recently. You've been on TV a lot of times over the years. How long have you been a sheriff, first of all?
21 years.
21 years. And we met close to that.
Yeah.
19,
I've been trying
20
to
years
forget
ago?
that, but yeah.
No, it's been a long time
yeah.
because I know my son Zachary's 23 now, and he was only a little
Yeah,
kid.
he was a young kid.
He was only a
I
kid when
remember
you give him a tour of the prison down
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah, I was surprised they let you out once we were done, but it all worked out for you.
So you handle it's not just like a sheriff's job like deputies that you get. Your
Yeah.
job is a little more involved. You're a
Well,
warden. You're
Well,
a prison.
yeah, we
you
run
the prisons.
Yeah, we have a regional lockup that we take in the prisoners for the local PDs in our county, so they can stay on the street and continue doing their work. We have about 1,200 inmates. That part of that number are pre-trial, people awaiting trial.
Right.
And we have the Ash Street Jail.
1,200?
Yeah.
Wow.
So at the Ash Street Jail, we have
Now that's in New Bedford.
New Bedford.
I've
That's
been-
actually the oldest operating jail in the country. I think that's
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been around since John Quincy Adams was president.
Wow. That's when you open the door and you see the cells go all the way up, right?
Yeah, 4 tiers, and Lizzie Borden was actually
You know,
there.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Were
we
you
still have
there
her.
then?
No, I just missed her. Just missed her. Yeah.
But actually,
So-
we went to the other prison too.
Yeah, in Dartmouth. And Dartmouth's our bigger complex.
Right.
And that's where most of our sentenced people are, some pretrial. And then I built a immigration detention facility on that property as well in 2007 where we housed illegal detainees.
Well, you got yourself in a little bit of a jam for that one, did you?
Not really. No.
No, not back then? No?
No, no. It seems more now that the activist groups and people are out there that have different points of view on this that we hear more. But
Turkey Day. You had an interesting Turkey Day, huh? Thanksgiving? Did you have a good?
yeah, I had
you had
some,
a good time.
I
for
had
turkey,
about 20
didn't you?
uninvited guests. They
At your house?
At my house. They showed up across the street with their protest signs that they didn't like. They wanted me to stop our 287G program, our partnership with the federal government on our immigration. customs enforcement.
287G?
Yeah, it's a partnership that prisons have with ICE. I'm one of, I think, 30 in the country that we actually work with them. If somebody gets brought into our facility, we'll hold them. Our people are trained. We have some that are sent to their academy for a month.
ICE's Academy?
ICE's Academy down in Georgia. They'll go there for, South Carolina. And they'll go there for 4 weeks, and they'll go through an academy, and then they will be
Certified or whatever?
certified ICE agents inside our prison. So when people come in, they've been arrested on the street, they are able to do and access the databases that ICE can access, and then determine whether or not somebody is either needs to be held by ICE. They'll make contact with the ICE officials in Rhode Island.
Needless to say, you're not a sanctuary
No,
place.
we're not a sanctuary.
Not a
No,
city.
and nor should anywhere else be, as far as I'm concerned. We have laws in the country, and we can't create special classes of people that are forgiven of being
For breaking the
accountable
law.
for being accountable for violating the laws, because it's hard to sort of encourage the people like the 5 million that are waiting around the world behind the borders, respecting the laws of the United States,
To come in, waiting to come in, you mean?
to come in. You can't say, well, we want you to continue to do that, but the others who want to sneak in front of you, well, we're going to forgive them of any accountability of violating the laws that you're respecting and allow them to stay. And you're just going to have to wait a little longer to get here. That's not the American way. It's not what our country was founded upon, based on our Constitution and our rules and our laws that protect our republic and our democracy. So no, we can't have elected officials saying we're going to give you a place to hide. We can't hear them saying, bring these people out of the shadows, and you law-abiding people who are supposed to be reporting crimes and people that are breaking the laws, you go into the shadows and be quiet. And that's kind of what happens in sanctuary situations.
Well, we have, right here in Rhode Island, we have Providence is a big sanctuary city. He's a big advocate. In fact, he claims that, or he is, they claims he is. I think his family or his father or something was an illegal.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I know my father was an immigrant.
Mine too.
Well, my father did it the right way.
He came through Ellis Island. My father came through
Yeah.
Ellis Island.
My father's
family did.
My father was from England, came here the right way. My mother and he had 13 children, raised them.
13 children?
Yeah. But,
Wow.
you know, my father never walked down the street looking over his shoulder. He didn't have to. He did it the right way.
Right.
And what example would it have been for me and my brothers and sisters that my father would be telling us, hey, I snuck in, that's how we got here. That's not the kind of thing that we teach our kids about. You know, we don't teach our kids to do things the wrong way. We teach them to do them the right way. And so why would we as adults suggest that there should be a system that promotes rewarding people who do everything that we're trying to teach our kids not to do?
Let me play devil's advocate.
You're good at that.
I am. I am good at that. What about DACA? DACA.
Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. That program actually created a real problem for the United States.
Why?
Well, because what happened was kids started saying, hey, I can come in, get in over the border. I'm going to be given a 2-year period of time. I've got to eventually they would eventually have to go to court, of course, to determine whether or not they could keep their status.
Right.
So, but under DACA, they also gave forgiveness of certain kids that were here and so forth and so on that came over after certain times. But we started to see an influx of kids coming across because then they knew
You
the
mean
next
more?
step, yeah,
More kids?
when
More
DACA
higher
happened.
percentage maybe?
Yeah. And then the parents were going to be, hey, we can't be separated from our kids.
Right.
So the parents would come in and it just became a real debacle. The reason all this is going on has everything to do with one fundamental thing.
What?
Congress, for 20 years,
Right.
turning a blind eye to their responsibilities of doing the right thing and reforming the immigration laws in a sensible way. This is something that they've used as a political football to try to get more votes. And for all the people who have been killed by criminal illegal aliens, 3 in the town of Milford, Massachusetts in 2 years.
3 in a
Milford,
town?
in one town.
Really?
In Milford in 2 years.
3 different incidents?
3 different incidents. But almost every single day in this country, someone is being killed by an criminal illegal alien. And so...
Is it really that bad?
It's that bad. It's that bad. Never mind the number of people who are dying of overdoses for the drugs that are pouring in over our borders. We're in the middle of an opioid crisis and we don't want to stop.
No, I know that, yeah.
The sex trafficking and human trafficking, which is hardly even spoken of, is out of control in the United States. And these kids that are being brought over by these coyotes, mothers are giving their teenage daughters birth control pills before they hand them off to a stranger in Honduras or El Salvador or wherever, because they know their daughter's going to get raped at least twice along the way. And they're paying these coyotes, $5,000 to $7,000 per kid. So and then the child gets here. If the child's absorbed into society, sent off to some place like Pawtucket, New Bedford, wherever,
Right.
given to a foster care parent. No family is with this child to help that child deal with the trauma that they've experienced on the way. So the child's dealing with that. Child's put in a school where the child doesn't speak the language, doesn't understand the culture, and is expected to learn, and thinks that maybe, just maybe, I'm in a better place now when all the kids in the school are making her the brunt of their jokes because she's different. Suddenly she goes home after school, on the weekends and after school, she walks out into the street in the afternoon after school, and guess who the weakest link in the neighborhood is for the gangbangers? She is. And
Right.
Here we go again. And then when I hear people say, we're helping that kid, tell me how. Tell me how we've helped that child.
Now, you say it like that, it makes
It's the reality.
all kinds of sense. Yeah.
It's the reality.
It's the reality.
And
you deal with it though. You deal with because you deal
Yeah.
with the prisons.
Yeah.
You're not dealing with these people on their high horses and their ivory towers, and they just feel good about themselves for donating or doing something. to
when you're
help some kid.
far enough away from it, and you want to be the person.
And you can get away from it anytime you want.
Exactly. Right.
You're not living in it.
No.
You're not surrounded by it.
Right. You can pontificate all you want about how how much of a humanitarian you are for people who aren't in this country, how about being a humanitarian for the kids in Chicago? Where do they run
you
to?
go.
Where do they run to? Mexico?
go.
The ones that are
Well,
that are facing violence every
novel
day?
idea.
Yeah. I mean, do you think the Mexicans are going to say, the government of Mexico is going to say, yeah, bring all the kids in there?
By the way, have you ever seen the Mexican immigration laws?
They're strict.
It's amazing. It's amazing. If you are an American and you go to Mexico, you want to immigrate to Mexico illegally
Right.
to Mexico. If you get caught protesting, they take everything you own off you and they throw you out of the country. If you are not allowed any welfare of any kind,
Right.
you are not allowed to get any money from anybody. And if you burn a Mexican flag, you're going to jail.
Right.
Now, that's all the things that are different in this country.
Yeah, we're a very compassionate country, and we're willing to take in people that really have, need refugee status.
Absolutely.
But we have to be able to understand that first. We can't just say all these people are saying they're coming. 3/4, if not more, of the people right now that are storming the border are single men. These are young single men that are coming over, and they're saying, "Oh, these poor kids and these families."
Well, they're showing families. They're showing a mother with 3 kids on the news this morning.
Sure, but if you were able to be there, and you weren't able to just focus your camera on what you wanted to focus it on, and you had a wide-angle lens, you'd see something very different, and that's what's going
I
on.
always wanted to go down to the border, see your idol.
I've been there 3 times.
Yeah, I know you have. See your idol. I guess I can call him your idol, right?
Who is that?
The sheriff.
Sheriff Arpaio?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not in any longer.
I know he's not.
But
I know he's not.
No, he had a very, very unique style of accountability.
Not unlike yours.
Yeah,
Or
I
not
don't
like the way you would be.
I don't have tents, and I
No, but I mean not unlike how I perceive you to be.
Yeah, and I don't ride a horse. I don't know if he does now either, but
Well,
he's in a much better sort of geographical area. If he wanted to, he could.
Right.
Out there in Arizona, but yeah, we're in a very trying time right now in our country, and this is not about not liking immigrants. And if you ever notice the people who are pro-illegal, they never use the term illegal. They always say
I know.
immigrant. They always say immigrant.
Right.
And the reason they do is because they know that if they were honest about it, they could be challenged. And the challenge would hold a lot of water. So they avoid it, and they don't use that term. And that's why they do.
Wait a minute. They don't use the term
Illegal. So when they say
undocumented, they call them undocumented.
we're a welcoming community for immigrants, we agree with that.
Right.
I am too, but I'm not for illegal immigrants, and nor should we be, because there is a process. And why would you say that if you decide to respect the laws of the United States, wait your turn, pay whatever it is in the way of entrance fees, applications, whatever.
Right.
And I decide, I'm not waiting. I want to go in, and I want to go in now. So you know what? I'm sneaking in, and now you're going to have to wait a little bit longer.
Right.
And maybe even longer than that when somebody else does, and somebody else does. We can't sustain that in the United States. We can't sustain our infrastructure if we just open our borders and let anybody come in. Who's going to pay? What about the hospitals? What about the schools that are already overrun?
Well, perfect example is that very picture this morning of that woman with her 2 or 3 kids. We've got to educate those kids. We got to feed those kids. We got to house those kids, right?
Right. But if they applied through the entry point and it was determined they needed refugee status, we'd be happy to do that.
Right.
Because there was a rationale for why they needed to get here. They were in danger. But what we need to do in this country, and I've been saying it for years, you want to deal with this issue and keep the people in their countries, hold the governments there accountable.
Right.
Tell them we're taking your financial aid
Yep.
until you straighten out your law enforcement community and have them stop being corrupt.
Stop the gangs, stop the corruption.
And hold them accountable to put in place some economic development program.
Right.
If you do this, this, and this, we will give you 75% of the aid. If you do this, 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 and this,
We'll
we're
give you
going to
100%. Yeah.
Okay, but you
Makes
need
sense.
But what we're doing is, Bob, is we're when we allow these people to come in, the legitimate ones that really they're coming in illegal, but they're trying to get a job. They just want work for whatever reason to support their family, themselves. Those are people that are looking to come in and commit crimes. But what we're doing by not addressing the problem back in those countries, by holding them accountable to the aid, is we're basically skimming off the best those countries have of people that have a work ethic. So they'll never be able to build an economy, because all the people that really do want to work but just can't because
they're leaving that country.
They're leaving.
Right.
So we're just exacerbating the problem.
We're doing what Castro did to us years ago, when he emptied out his hospitals, his insane asylums, and his prisons, and gave us all the riffraff in this country.
Right. So we need to take, but again, it goes back to one thing. I've been working on immigration reform for 20 years.
I know that.
And when I think about the people that we elect to go to Washington to represent us, and they know that almost every single day some family is losing a son, a daughter, a grandson, granddaughter, and will never experience a wedding, a baptism, birthdays, Christmas with that child ever again. Because Congress turns a blind eye and has total indifference to that situation for that family, because the one thing that's important to them is their politics. It's the vote.
It's the vote.
And so, you know what? Every time, and I've dealt with a lot of the angel moms and dads who've lost their sons and daughters, and it's a very sad thing. I had one angel mom, she was at a press conference we were doing, and she said, I'll never see my son again. And my son and I were so close. I'll never have a birthday with him, and a Christmas.
And what happened to him?
He was murdered by a criminal illegal alien. She reached in her purse and she pulled out an urn. She said, "This is the only relationship I have with my son."
His ashes.
His ashes. This is all I have to remember.
Wow.
You want to talk about a riveting moment?
Sure.
And that's only one story.
Yeah.
How does anyone in public life, particularly in Congress, who knows and hears about the pain of this mother and so many others, go year after year after year knowing that they're creating more of those moms and more of those dads to go through that tragedy and hardship that they're going to have to live for the rest of their lives? How do you do that? We sent you to Washington to take care of our issues, our interests, our concerns, and you're that indifferent to the loss
to make laws and to enforce the laws.
Right. And if you don't like those laws,
then change them.
But this idea of, we're not going to mess with it. We don't want to upset the immigrant community. And besides, we can use this as our political football. We can make the Republicans look worse to the immigrant community. And the Republicans can try to make the Democrats look worse.
Now, you get people that'll say, the Republicans want the illegals because they use them in their farms. But the fact of the matter is, they get legals to come over to take care of their farms.
Look, there is a legitimate argument around people using illegals for businesses, but it's not all Republicans. Trust me. This is the back and forth politics piece.
Right.
Let's just cut to the core issue. Are there people that are abusing illegals that are coming here taking work?
Right.
The answer is yes. Are they abusing our tax system? Yes, because they're not paying the workers' comp.
Right.
They're not paying the same way, the Social Security. They're not paying the wages, so they can bid lower on a job and beat out some legitimate business that's doing it the right way because they've got illegals working for them. So yes, there is a draw by some of these businesses who are trying to make a bigger profit and get more business in bids by hiring illegals. And that's why E-Verify that Congress should have passed a long time ago should have been done.
Why was it not passed?
Because it would create, again, this whole thing about interfering with their votes. It isn't, if anybody believes for 1 second that right now the Congress, these people who sit on the floor and protest, who are supposed to be the leaders of this country, their answer to their problems, and it was about, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, we saw them sitting on the floor, members of Congress sitting on the floor when Ferguson happened. Hands up, don't shoot, all the theatrics, sitting on the floor like petulant little children protesting. What do you think our kids are thinking when they're watching TV and they see the leaders of this country in Washington, D.C., sitting on the floor in Congress protesting like little kids? And then you're going to walk out the door and tell kids how to responsibly handle a problem? You shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. How do you do that? And this is where we are. Because Washington has turned into, and the President of the United States is correct, when he said we're going to drain the swamp, when he used that term swamp,
Right.
I grew up down there. Trust me, it's turned into a swamp. And I don't care what party you're talking about.
Now, you grew up down where?
I grew up right outside of Washington, D.C. in a place called Chevy Chase, Maryland.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so I paid close attention to Washington for a long time. And I've watched, sadly, I remember the days when Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill would argue vociferously
Right.
publicly over their issues when they
right.
differed. But at night, they'd sit
They'd
down,
have a
play
drink
cards,
together,
and have
or
a drink
have a-
together.
yeah, exactly.
Because they understood that they needed to represent what they thought were their best interests, but they didn't hate each other.
Right, right.
And
And they
we-
knew it was better to compromise than,
Right.
to be total
Right.
polar opposites.
And that wasn't a weakness, and that was a strength that the people expected when they sent them to Washington, when they voted for them.
Right.
But now, they don't sit together. They don't talk together. It's what investigation can we do here? What investigation can we do there? What majority's in? That's the one that's going to dictate how things are going to go. And think about it. The Russian collusion issue, all these things. What have they done this year? What have they done in this last term?
Not a damn thing.
Why?
Not a damn thing.
Why? If you and I, and this sort of takes it home. If you and I work for a company, and the boss brings you and I in and says, Bob, Tom, here's the deal. Our profits are down. I need you two to do a whole new organizational chart. We got to look at it, look at a
different
new way
way.
to approach so
Right.
that we can do better with our profits and yada, yada, yada. And after a year, the boss calls us in and says, Bob, Tom, what are we doing here? And you and I go, well, we're still talking about it. And the reason we're talking about
Yeah.
it is because you had some ideas that probably were good ideas. But I knew that if you proposed those ideas, you were going to get the credit.
Right.
And if I did, you weren't going to get the credit. I was going to get
Right.
the credit. So you know what?
It's stalemate.
It's a stalemate. And we just keep this going. And you know what you think the boss is going to say, well, I'll give you guys another 19 years to
No,
figure it out.
fire them both.
Why have we waited 19 years? We don't need to wait anymore.
Right.
We own the government. We are the people that put the people that represent us there, and we need to hold them accountable. And when we do, they'll start acting. Until we do that, they're going to continue turning Washington into this little political playground of what's going to benefit them individually and as a group politically. And that's sadly where we are. We have to make a choice, and it's time for America to make that choice.
But the answer is not available. It doesn't seem like it.
It is if we make it.
No, it isn't, because they keep electing the same people all the time, the same type of people.
Therein lies, you're exactly right. And that's why we, as a country, have got to stop fighting with each other. Congress
Right.
loves it when people argue with each other. You know why? It deflects attention away from the fact they're not doing their job.
Exactly.
So what we need to do is we need to join forces, because we basically agree on the same things. We want the same things for our families, for our country. We want that.
Well, did you see, well, just before, not this election, but the election for president 3 years or 2.5 years ago, whatever, the lowest rating was for Congress itself. They had the lowest satisfactory.
9%, 10%, something like that?
Might have been 12. Might have been 12.
Well, maybe it was 12. Okay.
They had a lower rating than Trump or anybody else ever thought of having. The Congress did.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the mob got a higher rating than that.
Well, while we're on illegal immigrants or illegal aliens, whatever you want to call them, how's the problem in Rhode Island and in Massachusetts? You're from Massachusetts. I'm from Rhode Island. How is the problem here?
We have a lot of illegal aliens in Rhode Island and Massachusetts. Massachusetts, I'll tell you, when the former governor was in, he didn't want me to push for secure communities. So there was a back and forth publicly about it in the papers.
The former governor?
Former governor, Deval Patrick. And he was trying to prevent secure communities program from coming to Massachusetts. I was pushing for it with ICE. We eventually got it. But I remember when it was, the back and forth was going on in the Boston Herald and so forth, and I got a call from a border agent. And this is going to the answer of the question you just asked.
Sure.
And the border agent calls me and says, Sheriff, you don't know me. I'm a border agent out in San Diego. I just was reading about what's going on in Massachusetts there with you and the governor over this issue of secure communities. He said, the reason I'm calling you is because out here at my checkpoint at the border, we average about 20 people coming across. We arrest them. We don't have the facilities to hold them because they're just coming in every day. But we take them to court. They're given a summons to return to court.
Which is a kind of a joke.
Then he said they never come back. Of course
Right,
they don't come back.
that's what I mean. It's
He
kind of
said,
a joke.
but that's not why I'm calling you. I'm calling you to tell you what happens after that. Very often there's vehicles already waiting for them outside of here, but the word out here in San Diego is go to Massachusetts. That's
Cut
the
it
place
out.
to go. And that was a random call from a border agent. And here's why. Because when you start telling, the word gets around and gets passed across the border quickly to know which states, what
Yeah,
cities
Rhode Island's another one, by the
are
way.
going to be the sanctuaries.
Right,
Where are the places you can go that you're going to least likely get caught?
right.
Now, I started out in law enforcement as a cop. I went and studied crime prevention at the Southern Police Institute, Louisville, Kentucky. One of the fundamental things that they teach you is when you're talking to community groups and telling them how to protect their homes is criminals are going to go to the place that's easy.
Least
They're going
resistance.
to walk down. They're going to walk down the side of the street that's dark. They're going to go and hit the house that has the bushes in front of the windows and
Right.
places like that
Right.
because they don't want to get caught.
Yep.
What's no different for people who are violating the immigration laws? They don't want to get caught either. They want to come here, whether they're going to be setting up their drug trade, whether they're trying to get a job, whatever they're doing, they don't want to be noticed. I drive up the streets of New Bedford. I see some of these people. I know they're from Guatemala, and I can tell right away as soon as they start looking down. They're looking down and they're walking into a store. They're walking and they just put their heads down and keep going, hoping you're not going to stop.
Right.
Which we don't. We don't enforce that because we're the sheriff's office. We do when they come in our place, but not the street. So there's a lot of problems in both Rhode Island and Massachusetts, and I mean we've seen it. We've seen it. Some of we saw the doctor that was killed up there in Boston.
Right.
We've seen these people who continually get deported. They come back, murder somebody, time and time again, and this doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. We got to stop. We have to stop sort of sending double messages that you can come here to a place like Massachusetts. I mean, Marty Walsh, the mayor of Boston, said he was going to protect illegals inside City Hall if they wanted to stay in there. I mean,
Unbelievable.
yeah,
I mean, that's a little over the top.
yeah. I mean, you got MS-13. I mean, we got gang problems. We got MS-13 in our place.
Well, some people, the other side will say that you're over-exaggerating it. That
Well,
the problem isn't there.
And I would ask those people, what do they base their experience on? Inside a prison? Are they doing the job I'm doing? Some
Right.
people, they all have their ideas of what they want to say, much like a lot of the media. It's what fits our narrative.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about
And
that.
so-
No, I like I said to somebody just recently, that talking about the 6,000 illegals coming to the, this caravan of people coming to the border. And there's, look at all the little kids, little children and mothers getting gassed and whatever. My question to them is, what would you do?
Right,
How do you deal with this? Do you open the gates and just let them all in?
right. And if you would,
How do you
are
handle-
you
how do
giving them
deal
road
with
maps to your house?
Right.
So they have somewhere to stay?
Right.
Because they're going to somebody's neighborhood. They're going to have to live somehow. They have to have food. They say they're running out of food coming to the border. What are they going to do when they get over the border?
Right.
Who's going to pay for their food? They don't have jobs.
There were people that I know people, a few people that live in Arizona, a couple people in Texas, and they tell me they can't keep clothes on the line. They steal the clothes off the line when they
look.
come across the border.
Look, Dr. Vickers, who
I mean, that's a little minuscule, minor stuff, but
I've been to a Dr. Vickers home in McAllen, outside McAllen, and
Texas.
Yeah, and he's got pictures, which most people wouldn't want to even see, of people that are coming across dying on his ranch. These are people who are coming in illegally. His wife was accosted by an illegal, fortunately she knew how to handle a shotgun. They threatened to come in the house, they were thirsty, they wanted water, and they were going to come in there. And she went in the house, came back out with her shotgun and said, you don't have any chance of getting water here, and you're probably not going to get water anywhere else close by, but you're certainly not going to stay on this property, because they were threatening her. And now, would she have given him water? Of course she would have given him water, but she wasn't going to allow these people to come in and assault her and step on her property and go into her home and threaten that they were going to do whatever they were going to do. So this is the people that haven't been there, the people that all sort of act as though they're the humanitarian saviors of people. any of us can do that when it's far enough away.
Right.
I'd like to
Not
see,
in my neighborhood.
Not in my neighborhood. And then they can be these sort of great advocates for people that are suffering and all of this, when in fact they don't really know what's going on. It just makes them feel good because they don't have to really drill down and do anything in the way of action about it, other than just talk about it.
Well, we're running out of time, and I gotta run through a couple things here. You were just with the president.
I was.
You gave him an award.
Yes.
What was that?
We presented him a plaque. I had about 44 sheriffs from 35 states. We went there and we presented the president with we had a round table first at the old Executive Office building, and then went into the White House and presented him with an award and thanked him for his support of law enforcement in our efforts to enforce the country's laws. And basically it was a plaque that said there's a new sheriff in town. and it had a sheriff's badge on it. But it really sort of captured what this president's done. He's a no-nonsense guy. He's not a politician. He's come in and he started to say, no, we're not going to, I'm going to work for what the people need. I'm going to solve these problems in spite of you. If you want to work with me, great. If you don't, I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. Right. But we have work to do for the people. And so that's essentially where the term comes from. As I said to him, I said, you know, you started making promises early on, and you've kept many of them already. And it didn't surprise us when people started to comment early on that there's a new sheriff in town, because it's an endearing term to sheriffs,
Sure.
which means there's problems and somebody's
coming
to
to deal with them.
Yeah. So we've really felt proud to be able to present that to him. I think he was proud to receive it. He said that it would have a very special place in the Oval Office. But you could see when he received it that it meant a lot.
It meant something.
It meant a lot to him.
Yeah.
And we told him, you know, I said, Mr. President, you've always said you have our back, and we have yours. America's sheriffs have yours, as does all the law enforcement community.
Wow, that's pretty special there.
Yeah,
You've done all right, huh?
Well,
You've done all
it
right.
was a privilege. It was a
Yeah.
privilege and an honor to be there and to be able to recognize what he's accomplished and do what we can to work with him to help make our community safe.
Well, we didn't even get through half of the stuff, so you got to come back.
I will, and I
You got to
hope
come
when
back when you go to do the whole show.
and I hope
Just
when I
you
come back
I.
and I walk in the studio, you don't go, so you really did come, huh?
Yeah.
Of course I'd be
No,
here.
we
What
gotta-
about- who wouldn't come to your show?
That's,
And I got to tell you, Mikala, what a wonderful young lady. What she's doing for veterans is amazing.
Exactly.
And God bless her and the people that she works with to help these freedom fighters.
And I got to end our conversation for now, because you are definitely got to come back. You got to come back. We got to come back. We got to continue this
If
conversation.
you unlock that door, I'll come in.
All right. But I do want to know about the coin, because I know Reggie Centracchio, the former Adjutant General of the Rhode Island National Guard, used to give out the coins.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. He was on the show with you one time. Yeah. You gave a coin to the president, didn't you not?
I did. When we were walking into the East Room, he and I reached in my pocket and handed him my challenge coin. And I said, Mr. President, this is for you. And he said, well, thank you very much. I said, well, the reason I'm giving it to you is because every time I see you on television sitting at your desk, over your right shoulder behind you is a 3-layered rack of challenge coins
I'm
from
going to
different
have to be
departments.
looking at that now. I'm going to have to be looking at that.
Mine's
now.
not on there, so I just wanted to make sure I gave it to you.
Well, it might end up on there now. Right?
Well, we hope so.
It
We think
could.
so.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again.
It's great to see you. And if I don't see you before the holiday, you and the listeners, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.